Bubbles. So, um, I've only watched the first part of the Wendy Williams documentary. I'll get around and watch the second part eventually. But my goodness. It's controversy, Wendy Williams wouldn't approve of this documentary, and she's the executive producer of this Lifetime thing, or if it was on Lifetime, I don't know. But I'm inclined to believe that we know she's not in her right mind, but I'm inclined to believe that she'd be okay with it because she's been an open book. Wendy is one that will let you see the good, the bad, and the ugly. She is 59 years old, only 3 years older than myself. And I just can't believe that this is what it's all come down to. I've always appreciated Wendy because the woman was talented. We'll never see another Wendy Williams, and I know a lot of people probably saying good. But I just want to take a moment and just give that woman her props. She got ran out of New York. I remember I used to listen to her on my long drive home in the 90s, early 90s, from Brooklyn, going out to Long Island, to Nassau Community College, as I was studying mortuary science. And it was a long ride during rush hour, having to get on the Grand Central Parkway, and Jesus Christ. But I would listen to her, and her show was so entertaining. And in the course of her show, she definitely rubbed a lot of people's feathers the wrong damn way. But people loved it. And then she started talking about Diddy and his gay proclivities. And he was able, this duck nigger, was able to run her out of New York. And that he did, and that she did. And for, maybe 7 years or so, she was on the radio in Philly. And then like in 2000, I believe, or it could have even been 99, she made her way back to New York radio. And those shows were so good. And then she had a message board. And that message board probably went on for about a year or two. Wasn't too long. Because she was the type, hey, I'm not going to have a message board and be paid for shit and y'all people talking shit about me. And she just shut that shit down. But, when she came back to New York, I called in her radio show. And I said, Wendy, I am so proud of you. And I said, I could see it. You get ready to do bigger things. I see TV shows, I see movies, I just see it all. And she said, mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Like I was on to something, and I was. And then when that R. Kelly thing first broke out, the very first time with the video and the urination on the child, Wendy was on her show calling that child fast. And I called into the show. And I was like, Wendy, that girl was a child, a teenager. How are you calling her fast? Don't you understand about grooming? And Wendy being a bitch that she is, um, just got nasty with me. And so that was that. But I still liked her. You know, when you know somebody's a bitch, they're a bitch. And you expect them to do bitch shit and behave like a bitch. And Wendy did just that. So when you see on a documentary of how she was just so disrespectful and nasty to the help, I wasn't surprised. And I think a lot of people uh, are contributing that to her debilitation. But no, Wendy Williams was a super bitch without what's going on with her. But now, she's just a bitch on steroids. I mean, really. But yeah, Wendy Williams always been nasty and a bitch. And I just never understood why somebody has to be such a bitch like that. What is your fucking problem? Why you gotta be so nasty and say nasty shit to people? But anyway, a lot of people have no sympathy for her. A lot of people are gloating with glee. I keep seeing the word karma and people have a right to be entitled to their feelings, how they feel. But for me, I try to accept people for who they are, as they are. Wendy Williams was a bitch. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. I'm just stating a fact. Wendy Williams was a bitch. She's always been a bitch. That's part of the reason why a lot of people liked her, because she was a bitch. She wasn't a singer, but she definitely acted like a bitch of a diva. And we see that now. Even in all her issues and her struggles, she's staying true to form. She's a bitch. And when you're sick and you need the help and assistance of other people, hello, you might want to be a little bit more pleasant to people who have to wipe your ass, You might want to be a little bit more pleasant to people who have to bring you your food. And at this point in time, Wendy Williams can't help herself. In terms of being able to adjust her attitude and not be such a bitch. And so, I guess the person that was doing her nails and the other person who was assisting her with her wardrobe. The only thing I can think of that they must be getting paid really well to sit there and take such verbal abuse. I mean, they must be getting paid very well. They have to be, because nobody would stand for that, for, pennies on the dollar. So I guess a little bit of disrespect is nothing compared to how much they're getting paid. I guess that's what it is. I remember when she had Kevin, I remember she would bring him to work with her. And, you couldn't see, but she would, he'd be right there in his little bassinet or car seat thingy. And she would say, look at him. He looked just like an old man. Kevin definitely was her pride and joy. And still is. But I'm just talking about, when he was a baby. She loved that little booger wooger. And as far as the husband, I guess she felt safe with him because he was a big dude and kind of street, and she felt like he was her protector. Frankly, I think Wendy could have done a whole lot better, but that's who she chose as her life partner, and they did good together in terms of her career. And then we saw that disintegrate with another woman in the middle of it all, and then a baby. And it does seem that after the breakup with Kevin and shit, her health just went on a downward spiral. Just swirling around and going down the fucking drain, dragging her career down with it, and her health. But Wendy doesn't have long for this world now. And she's fairly young, if you ask me, 59. To have dementia and shit. But you gotta understand, man, doing cocaine and the way she did cocaine, that stuff will jack you up. If it don't jack you up during the times you are using, it's gonna catch up with you. Especially like crack, for instance. I know several people that were bona fide crackheads, and when they got sober, like within a year or two after being straight sober, no more crack smoking, they had strokes. And the issue was that, your organs had been so high on crack for decades for some people, a decade or more, or a little less, that when your organs finally become sober, that's when the issues come out and your body starts breaking down. You just be all fucked up. And I think Wendy, with her extreme cocaine use back in the day, and then she switched one addiction for another, which was alcohol. Her brain just couldn't take it. Just couldn't take it. I'm so sorry that this is happening to her. She doesn't have access to her money anymore. How the hell that happened? And it's some stranger that has guardianship over her as opposed to her family. Shit, if anybody's gonna rob her, you might as well let it be her family. If that's the case, I'm not accusing them of robbing her. I'm just saying, if she's gonna get robbed, at least let it be her family to do it, as opposed to some crooked ass Steven. Never mind. I'm just saying, if I gotta see Wendy Williams get robbed of her money, I'd rather see her son, her sister, her immediate family do it to her. She wants to get back to work. Denial and delusions. In the documentary, those that are encouraging her, yeah, you're gonna get back to work, Wendy. Come on now, why y'all doing that? Knowing damn well her brain is half mush at this point. Not that they should say, Wendy, you'll never be able to work again. I don't think they should say that either. Just change the fucking subject. Damn. Just so sad. So sad. Anyway, that's all I have to say concerning Wendy Williams. But, you know, she came and she made her mark. She found her niche at a early age, and she rode that shit till the wheels fell off. And did a good job all the time she was riding it. She made a lot of money, did a lot of things, went a lot of places, splurged on her baby. And I guess the party's over. It's a big loss to us, and I know a lot of people don't feel that way, but I feel it. Again, there'll never be another Wendy Williams. She was the best to ever do it. All she ever wanted to do was be famous from the age of 6 years old. And she has accomplished her dream. And now, I say she should just sit down and just take her rest. Hopefully she's not being abused in any kind of way, although she is in some shape, form, or fashion, if you ask me. But I'm hoping it doesn't come down to her being physically abused. Because, you know, the shit that comes out her mouth will make you want to slap her, even in her illness. That poor woman. But one of the saddest things she said in her documentary is that, she doesn't have any friends. She has that one best friend, but she feels that, like she doesn't have any friends, and that's because she's a bitch. The majority of bitches don't have any friends because they're so fucking rude, nasty, and mean for no damn reason. So yeah, you had an attitude like a Wendy Williams, you're definitely gonna leave this world without any friends. Thank God for friends. We need friends. Anyway, I'm just gonna pray for Wendy. Continue to pray for her, and we'll see how it all turns out. It would be great if she can kick this shit and get back on radio or her own podcast or whatever. It would be great, but it's just wishful thinking at this point. She is done. So may her family be able to gather around her and encourage her and take care of her and keep her safe and enjoy their loved one as much as they can. And may the Lord put a fence around Wendy and her family and keep the devil out. Amen. Peace. I'm out.